In previous episodes of this history, we've shown a before and after view at the start. That is, an overview of the layout as of December the previous year, and then as of December this year. However, in this year, 2025, we're only showing you the overview of the layout as of December 25. The reason is that there is very little noticeable difference between the two views. And at the end of 2024, we had completed most of the scenery on both the lower and mid levels. There are some minor changes, just like the small one just coming up here, where we have relayed some of the track at Sparwood. And we're still working on this area. The coal loop was causing us problems, so we rebuilt it. And this required a little bit of scenery reconstruction. In the North Room, there are a couple of changes, but very little as far as visibility is concerned, at least from this distance. Again, on the lower level, there is one minor change. We used to have a snow shed leading into a tunnel just after crossing the bridge. Now, it's a cutting. However, we're still not happy with the results, so most likely we'll rebuild that section of scenery yet again, and you'll see it in next year's history. There are a couple of changes on the mid-level, and we will be covering them in the individual section of this video. Finally, as we come around the corner here on this peninsula, you can see wires hanging down and a little bit of board. And this is the top level. We've just started the top level. Again, this will be covered in more detail in the individual section. Everything else is as it was in December 24. We had started work in December of 24 on the upper level, and then during the early months of 25, we started building the baseboards to run around the edge of the north wall. Also involved in this building was to put in supports which are going to be used to provide the lighting for this area. There will be a valance that goes at the top, and they will hold the lights. Construction of more baseboards has been delayed while we built a series of modules for our new exhibition layouts. And while we discussed and planned how the track was to head around the peninsula over Spokane Yards, it took us a while to get going. We weren't rushing laying the track. We were having too much fun driving trains on the lower two levels. So there was no massive rush to get this part of the layout finished. But the track did get laid. And then we had to pull the boards down to wire them up. The first section down was actually the last section where we had laid track. And this was wired up in November and then put back into place. Then in December, the second section was taken off and is now in the process of being wired up. On the mid-level, we have been concentrating on finishing off the scenery. The first area to be done was the engine servicing facility for Aden Yard. First, we had to finish laying the track and then add the scenery. And as you can see, we've now got it pretty well complete. Aden Yard was also subject for a lot of the work as far as scenery is concerned. At the beginning of the year, we had no ballast. There was rough scenery around the edges, and yet by the end of December, all the tracks had been ballasted and the scenery around the yard had been put into place. And we are making the yard look as though it has been well used. Lots of detail have been added into the scene, but there's a lot more to be put in. On the other side of the peninsula, Spokane's Union Station was also only track laid as of the beginning of the year. We had to do some more wiring, and then we've again been adding detail around the front of the station. Seems as though we've been working on the park and the road that goes past it and the buildings that support it forever, as this area has been revised over and over again. Then we had to install a new panel. And then on the track side of the station, we have ballasted all of the track and added lots of scenery detail. So now we have finished the station. Still working on the station building itself. We've got some interior detail going in there, and we still have to apply some lights. The final section of work has been Bena Main Street. At the beginning of the year, most of the street buildings were in position, but we were not 100% happy with what was there. We have now completed the positioning of all the surrounding buildings, added interior details to the building flats, as well as a lot of street detail. And now the street looks really like a busy street. If you've liked the video, please click on the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you along, so please hit on the subscribe button.